All right, so this week's guest is my friend Tucker. I met Tucker for the first time at the Red River Valley Fair back when he was a student at NDSU and I was still very new to North Dakota. I had questions, a lot of questions, like what is Big Iron? What is Little International? What exactly is going to happen in an ag education building? Tucker never once made me feel dumb, rushed, or like a burden. Instead, he created a kind, quiet, steady, safe space for curiosity, answering everything with patience, generosity, and a genuine desire to help someone understand a place and a culture that mattered deeply to him. During his time at NDSU, Tucker studied agricultural education and threw himself into the full experience, academics, leadership, hands-on learning, and the extracurriculars that turn a campus into a community. He was a phenomenal intern, a dedicated student, and already a natural teacher. That didn't stop after graduation. Today, Tucker continues to work in education and leadership, guiding young people and teams with the same steadiness and kindness I saw from the very beginning. On a more personal note, I have a middle schooler who, for the last 2 years, has latched onto Tucker with an unrelenting laser focus, and Tucker, unsurprisingly, has never missed a beat. So A, thank you again for that, and B, thank you for being here for this conversation, for the years of patience, and for the example you set of what leadership can look like. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, first question, when you think back to your time as a student before titles or roles, who were the people that made you feel seen and capable?
Gonna dig back to like even high school here. Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna bridge the gap like high school to college because there's kind of a group of people in there. Really, and it's bridging that first gap, it's all women right away. So I'll give that to the girls. Okay, it's my first one was my county extension agent, 4-H leader. Her name was Maxine. She's just a phenomenal woman to get to know, someone that pushed me super, super hard in all things 4-H. And it kind of got my start in like, this is the ag ed world. This is the world of kind of education that's not just the Common Core kind of things. Yeah. Okay. Getting into like why do we have a land grant institution? What is like that kind of vibe? And what is 4-H? And that I kind of like that side of the education system more because of her. She pushed me to do everything with the 4-H and just to be myself and kind of always at shoulder if I had questions, support everything. She was my start, I would say. After she retired, I definitely kept my leadership in the high school. I kind of liked to be the kid that was in everything because I felt like if I just in everything, I'm just feeling good. I like to be busy, whatever. And I also wanted to push myself. So I went and I was a state officer for North Dakota FCCLA. And that was pushed by my family and consumer sciences teacher, Miss Amy Crum. And she was just a really great leader. Like, hey, you could try this, like super powerful kind of in that sense of you got what it takes, like why not try it even if you're nervous, like hey, you don't have to, but if you want to, go for it. Well, I wanted to. I said, why not? I want to give it a shot. Especially because at that point, family consumer sciences was always, to me anyway, set as like the girls trade. Like, the boys went to the lab, the shop space, the girls went to the kitchen. It was like I didn't really have that in high school. So I was like, I'll be the boy that goes for this one. And so then I got to state there with her and just kind of someone that even now, like we meet or whatever up and we just talk about things. And it's her husband's also a teacher and we just chat. And I should also add, she's my mom's like cousin-in-law and whatnot. So like we're close already. But
Love it.
A great leader. Next leader. Bridging the gap between high school and college. I had 2 or 3 phenomenal ladies working for the North Dakota 4-H ambassador program. Okay, one of them, Sue, she worked for the NDSU 4-H extension specialist, so she was in the Center for 4-H Youth Development. Just had been with me for all 6 years of my 4-H ambassador program. The bridge from high school being 16 to college being 22. I did it for all 6 years. It was the busiest, most awesome time ever. I met so many cool people. Did more traveling I ever have just because of that. I loved it. And those people just really pushed you. It's what it was. It was a leadership thing for students like me. And that was a place I was like, this is so cool. These are awesome people. Like I'm learning how to talk with people, how to have a conversation, because no one can do that anymore, it seems. And just how to do those things. And it felt really good. So she was my next one. Now we're in college. It was honestly my two advisors in the ag ed world, Dr. Thiel and Dr. Marks, were just amazing at just, hey, I know that you didn't have ag ed and FFA in your high school. They knew that. But they said, but you can still do this. And that was probably the scariest part of this. If you'd asked me what my most nervous part was going into this, is that I had no FFA ag ed knowledge at all. I was like a blank canvas when all my other friends had all these big backgrounds of ag ed and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to jump into it because I think I know what I want out of it. And I got what I wanted. So final one is my cooperating teacher, Mr. Tony Bame in Richland 44. And he just showed me the ropes. He was like, hey, I was his 13th student teacher. This guy he knows what he's talking about. He's so supportive. And I just learned so much that when I left, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I don't have anything to be nervous about anymore. So
that's such a, first of all, thank you for the clarity of like that roadmap. I also had no idea and would not have known that you didn't have this like ag ed background.
No.
And I think like you hit the nail on the head of like, you felt certain. You're like, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And like, what a credit to you, obviously, but to these people that like, were just like, yeah, man, we're going to do this.
Yeah. No, and it just felt right. Like I knew from a long time that I wanted to be a teacher, probably on like starting middle school-ish, because I love geography. I wanted to be a social studies teacher. That was my jam. Okay. 3-time geography B champion right here. Okay. That was me. But
creds. I love it.
I'm gonna be a social studies teacher. Well, then I got into it and like graduating high school soon. And I worked for NDSU where I went to high school. There's a research extension center. I worked there and I was like, well, this is really cool. Like I didn't grow up on a farm either. I was like, but I really like this. And so I crisscrossed it and I found education in ag and I said, oh, there's a major of this at NDSU. I was going to go to UND. And
really?
I found this major and I talked to Marks and Thiel and now I'm a Bison fan. You can see behind me. So, yeah.
First of all, go Bison, hands up.
Yep.
So I love that. And like, you know, I am not a farmer. I was not raised by a farmer. My grandpa farmed. Mm-hmm. So when I got to NDSU, one of the first people I got connected with was the Joe and Norma Peltier, Vice President for Agriculture, his truly, Greg Lardy. And I didn't realize how unique NDSU's having an extension office in every county, how incredibly rare that is. And so I feel like you are literally like, you're the illustration people talk about. Like, why does it matter? What does it look like to have somebody in every county? Can you tell me a little bit what your work at that office looked like?
So my work at that office was kind of different from a normal county office. Okay. So like you mentioned, every county has an office, which is, phenomenal because not many states have that. My position was that NDSU has these RECs, Research Extension Centers. Basically, they have specialists out working in different sections of North Dakota based on the climates and what's grown there. And so I worked at an extension center. Basically, they had a bunch of specialists, agronomists, people working with the diseases, all of that. And I went out there just as a high schooler. In the summer, they hired summer workers. Okay, hoe the field because you can't do it with a machine because it's too small. Plant flower beds, mow the lawn, things like that. Occasionally help with some of the techie stuff, but that was it. And so it was just really kind of like, I'm learning a lot about what it means to do research on crops, knowing that there's not just one type of something and that some crops are like dogs and there's 1,000 different breeds and you can cross them this way and this way and this way to get what you want. And that was all new to me. And I just enjoyed that. And I working with the flower beds and I liked working with all these cool people that just knew so much. I kind of like to be all knowing.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love that. And I love that like NDSU is great. My pursuit at NDSU is not agricultural at all. It's education. But having the ability to brush up against some people who are profoundly
Mm-hmm.
brilliant, invested, involved, knowledgeable. I'll tell you like one of my favorite stories, and then I'm going to tell you the most embarrassing story ever, and then we'll move on. So one of my favorite stories is
Mm-hmm.
got to work with Barney Geddes in his work with nitrogen emitting cereal grains
Yes.
and learning about like what that means or how his work, you know, impacts feeding a growing global population. Like that's really
Yes.
cool. I don't know how that works, but I get really excited about it. I love that he's
Mm-hmm.
at NDSU. That's like my favorite story to tell because I'm not a scientist. So like all of these big
Mm-hmm.
words I get to use, very fun. My most embarrassing NDSU agriculture story is when we were doing the groundbreaking for the Bali Agricultural Laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
I was in charge of the like groundbreaking, right? So like the
Mm-hmm.
shovels and the dirt, and I kept saying like shovels into the dirt, and I think Sarah Lovis is her name, was in doing the groundbreaking, and I kept saying dirt, and every time she'd be like soil,
Soil.
soil, and like there were all of these people standing around Tucker, and like I'm like trying like this is part one of a two-part,
Mm-hmm.
four-part like event-wide day, and I like
Mm-hmm.
can't. So the very last time I was like soil, it's soil. I heard you. I care. I'm learning, and I just think for me like so much of the way we live our life casually without understanding all of the things you've had the opportunity to like do hands-on, do in a classroom, do in an educational capacity that like we're involved in
Mm-hmm.
the dirt or soil realities of our lived existence and still don't necessarily know whether we call it dirt or soil. That's my
Exactly.
embarrassing story of the day.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm guilty of it too. They told us on day one of soils class that dirt is a swear word in here, and you call it soil. So that was day one of soils class. Soils 210 at NDSU was dirt is a swear word. We're gonna call it soil.
If I
So
had taken Soils 210 before
there you
this
go.
event, I would not have been embarrassed, and that would
There
have
you go.
helped me. So, Soils 210, take it, take the class. Okay, good, good advice. Okay, so this is a great springboard from kind of your journey into and through
Mm-hmm.
college. As a college student and an intern, or you would say even as a student teacher,
Mm-hmm.
when did you first realize that people were watching how you showed up, not just what you knew?
I'm gonna say it right away from like I don't know. I guess I've always been told like both in my workplaces and whatnot that I'm also a person that if I don't show up to something, like if I'm scheduled and I'm not there, like something's going on. Because I would have called in, I would have told you, or your schedule's wrong. Like it's very very rare that I like miss something or something like that, or if I don't call in. So that was something where I always knew that people like that I had that kind of I had put off that energy as someone that's gonna be there if he said he's going to, no matter what. I also noticed it a lot in my kids' student teaching. Okay.
Hmm.
Then this is something that I was told. This isn't something, it's something I learned what it meant after it was told to me, right?
Okay.
You're like, oh, what's that jargon? It doesn't mean anything until you actually live it. And then you're like, oh, they are knowing what they're talking about. But these kids, you show up as a student teacher and you're like, all right, my classroom now. I know you're super comfortable with this person. Now you got to get used to me. And those kids are resilient. They put up a wall. They're like, I don't trust you yet. And suddenly they are a different person until you knock down the wall. And it's watching them because I knew that wall broke down the second I went to a basketball game. I went to a basketball
Yes.
game. Five of the kids were like, Regner was there, Regner was there, Regner was there. And all of a sudden everyone knew I was at this basketball game. After that, wall torn down. And they just started coming out of the woodwork. Like, here's some of the personalities, here comes the truth. And it just really opened it up. And it even got better. I coached track with Richland when I was a student teacher, and just even then, more of the kids saw, hey, he's showing up for us. Like, he's not just blowing his whistle at us and telling us to run. He's making jokes with us. He's encouraging us. He's doing all this, and then they trust you again. And for me, it was kind of that they trusted you where they could let their guard down and whatnot.
It's so important, and I love that like that is such a pristine, neat, clear example of like, are you just doing what you have to do? Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to go to that basketball game, and they know it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to coach. That is not what you need for your requirement to complete
Exactly.
your academic expectations and graduate. And like, I think that so often we forget that people know what we're expected to do,
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to take that extra step or show up again or remember something someone told you the last time you were talking, like these things make the
Mm-hmm.
difference.
They do. They do. And it's just a cool, like, yeah, I saw the light switch flip,
Hmm.
you could say. Like, it just kind of happened where those kids that didn't tell me anything, all of a sudden were telling me everything or asking me all the questions and just kind of giving me more. And it's just kind of, it was a neat little opportunity I saw. And it kind of has helped me, especially getting started in a new school where no one knows me and whatnot. And I have to kind of forge my own path. And I decided if I'm going to make it a good path, I should make it a good path. I'm not, rather not start out rocky and then figure out how to pave the road. I'd rather try and pave the road first. So,
Yep. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so I'm highly focused on the internship thing because I think
okay.
internships are important.
Mm-hmm.
I think um sometimes internships I think can sound like networking, like I should do it. I know it's important. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like. So for students entering internships now, what's one thing you wish more interns understood about how to learn, ask questions, and build trust early on?
You just have to ask the questions. Like, oh, it's so easy to just show up to this internship that you got on and you're just like, I'm going to do this. But what is this? What is like, what do I have to do? Okay. I remember sitting, and you know this because you've met Emily Grunwald. Okay. If Emily's listening, she's going to laugh at this. Emily's an intimidating person to me. I was like, can I even ask her like to go out to lunch yet? Like, kind of thing. And that's just me.
Yeah.
I was timid, right? But once I asked her questions and whatnot, it just got so much easier to do the job and to learn, okay, this, I do enjoy doing this. Like, I'm not sitting at my desk for 5 minutes amping myself up to just go ask her a question. It's things like that. And it was just, so for any intern, you just got to ask the question because they're going to give you an answer. They know they hired you to learn. Like that's what an internship is. They know that you're not coming in with a bachelor's in 20 of like experience. Like they came in, they know that. So you just need to ask it, even if it's like dragging your feet across the nails. Like it's not gonna be fun, but once you do it 2, 3 times, it's gonna get so much easier and it's just gonna flow better. You're gonna have a much better time. And yeah, don't do it towards the end. Don't do it toward when you have 1 week left of your internship. Do it the second week. Do it the first week. Get it done.
I love like that clarity of like they know they hired you to learn. They don't think you're the chief agricultural officer. And like even
Mm-hmm.
when I think about titles that could be intimidating, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Emily knows a lot. Emily knows a lot about things I've never even thought about.
Right.
Um, she's the chief agricultural officer of the Red River Valley Fair Association. Like you get it. You get why it would you like maybe I need to pep talk myself here for a minute before
Mm-hmm.
I go ask her a question. But remembering that like that is the nature, that is the established and clear and communicated nature of your relationship in that space.
Mm-hmm.
You're an intern. You're there
Mm-hmm.
to learn.
And
Ugh.
I don't, but yeah, like I discussed at that because like, that's what society tells you, right? Like, I think of it like society tells you that you're an intern and you see clips of people. I don't know. I think of movies. Devil Wears Prada. She's an intern and screw you. Go give me a coffee. Oh, I don't want the coffee. Okay, that's what you think, right? But it's
Yep.
not all like that. Like, but that's what some people think it is, and it's
That's
not.
so important. It's so important. Like if that's all we talked about, it would be
Hmm.
worth it all on its own. So I think just even reframing, because I think there is this belief, right? Like you're in an academic program, so you're learning. So like you should know these things.
Hmm.
And knowing that an internship is there for you to learn, and that everybody on both sides of the equation knows that, and that like,
Hmm.
and you still, even if that's a known context, you're still the one who has to say, all right, I'm going to go ask this question, and you got to get up and you got to do it.
Hmm.
And I also appreciate like, yeah, don't wait till the last week or the second to the last week, like. And I think that comes back to something you already said, which is like you could pave this road
Hmm.
and know that you're going to learn so much more if you're willing to ask the questions.
Yeah,
Ugh,
exactly.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Um, okay, I'm going to ask you this question because you've met Evelyn. You know her
Hmm.
well. How do you think patience functions as a leadership skill?
I think it's super important. That's about all I got to say right away. But like, you just, there's a quote that I teach my students right now, and I'm going to butcher the heck out of this quote, but it's basically talks about, I don't know how this goes, but a leader doesn't just, one
I'm not
moment
rushing
though,
you.
because
Yeah,
it's
you're
on my
good.
door and I got to read
Great.
it. Okay, so here we go. So the quote goes that there are people who, instead of listening to what is being said to them, are already listening to what they're going to say themselves. They aren't listening to what you're saying. They're listening to how they're going to respond. They're thinking, oh, he said the sky is blue. I'm going to argue with him that it's green. They aren't listening to if the sky is even blue or not. Okay. And I think that is the answer to that question of patience being a super important part of leadership. Because if you're the leader in a situation and you know that, right, you're the leader of this group and you have maybe the shy intern that says something, your brain should not be thinking of that intern is wrong and I'm going to correct them immediately. Your brain should be thinking, what is this intern going to say? Is it, maybe it is not something that you just have to take more than a millisecond and actually think about what they said. Maybe it's just addressing their curiosity because maybe they don't have all the information that you have. You're the leader after all. They don't know everything. But sometimes people just don't think about it before they speak. So
I love that you tied again, like this is you're a genius. Thank you for being here. Probably gonna need you to come back more than once to talk about a lot of things because I feel like any one of these things we could talk about for the entirety of this time. But like that is such a tangible connection to like, I think people think of patience as like a general demeanor. Like, I don't really know how you apply it, but like just be patient. No, patient is listening to listen, not
mm-hmm,
listening to respond. And I think so much
mm-hmm,
I actually had a conversation today with another student at NDSU who was talking about like what if we just need to process? Like
yeah,
like so often what we're communicating isn't even necessarily what we mean or what we're trying to say, but like I got to work it out. I got to figure this out. And we also cut that off at the pass when we are listening to respond. Like
mm-hmm,
everyone is losing in that equation. And I really appreciate the way that you connected that to something so tangible. Like it would be very easy to say, hey, if you're watching this conversation, whether you're a boss, a parent, a teacher, a mentor, a
mm-hmm,
professor, whatever capacity, one way that you can practice patience today or tomorrow is the next
mm-hmm,
time someone's talking to you, you are just listening.
mm-hmm,
And that's
exactly,
patience in action. Thank you for that.
exactly. Yeah, because it's just, you don't have to say something right away. You just have to listen. And but listening's not also just that it's coming in your ears. It's dissecting what they're saying. Like some people can say, "Oh, I'm listening," and they dead eye you, right? They're giving you eye contact because they think that makes a deal. Maybe they lean forward and they're like, "I'm listening." They're not listening unless they can basically say what you said back and dissect it and pull the words out. So
Incredible. Thank you for being here. Okay. So, okay. All right. I'm trying to try not to take all of your time today, even though
oh,
I could have taken
just
all of
fine.
your time. Okay. Um, so this is another kind of educational focused one, but
Okay.
moving from student to educator is a real shift. So
Mhm.
what surprised you most about being on the other side of the classroom? So going from, I think whether you're going from a student to student teaching or from student to full-time professional teacher.
I think it's that no matter what the age gap is between you and your students, like right now I have middle schoolers, okay? I'm a couple years removed from middle school. But even if I had high schoolers, and I do work with high schoolers. We're only a couple years apart, but they still look up to you. Even if you just walked into their life and you're 3 years older than them and they're like, I know how to listen, they still are looking up to you. And you may be a fresh graduate, but they are looking up to you. And it's kind of cool when you look at that from another point of view and you're like, hey, I right now feel like this newbie kid on the street. Like, I feel like I'm not much older than them. I just finished high school, whatever. But they're still looking up to me and they're asking, like, oh, they're looking for my way of dealing with their friends, dealing with conflict, dealing with teachers. They're watching at all times. And so I guess that's how I think of that, is that they're always, yeah, like, I'm young, but people are still looking up to me. And
Yeah.
people older than me are still looking up to me. A new teacher that gets their degree next year, but maybe they're a couple of years older, maybe it's a gap year, whatever, they're still looking up to me. Okay. Because they see you as you had a goal in mind and you achieved it. And they know that. And they're looking up to that.
And I think like I think that's such an important framework to have in every context. Like Tucker, I'm older than you.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker, you are one of the first people I asked to be a part of this thing. You are wise beyond your years. You carry yourself with a knowledge of the importance of human reality. And I appreciate that about you. And I think that is just an encouragement to, whether you're in a classroom or not, people are paying attention. And they'll try really hard to convince you that they're not. But they are. And so I appreciate that, because that applies to classroom settings and outside of classroom settings. So I appreciate that. So one of the questions that I want to talk about is the mentoring program that you are a part of.
Okay.
Can you kind of walk us through it?
Yes. So I'll give you the like 1-2 on this, but because this is so much more and I'm probably gonna butcher it, right? But started teaching in Minnesota. I'm a North Dakota native. I have not done any teaching in Minnesota, but this is where the job was, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna jump right in. Right away to get started. The Minnesota Career and Technical Education reached out to me. So they oversee all sorts of things related to career and technology education in the state of Minnesota. They reached out to me along with one of the professors at U of M Twin Cities, teaches ag education, professor of ag ed. And together they do what's called TIP, Teacher Induction Program. And it's basically for any new teacher in the state in any career and tech ed field. So think ag, think family consumer sciences, cosmetology, marketing, anything in the career and tech ed field, they're in on it. That's a bunch of different pathways. Okay. And they're orchestrating this whole thing. It's a bunch of teachers. It's over 100 brand new teachers, right? But they bring you together and they ask, what are your weaknesses? What are the things you're nervous about? How can we help you out? They filling out this little form. You're also assigned a mentor who is another teacher that is still currently teaching, but has more than, I think, 4 years of experience. So usually 4 to, I think, 15-ish years, basically 4 to retired or not. Think of it like that way, okay? Most of them are around 8 to 10 years though, or a little older. You're also assigned a coach. And I think I might have switched those two up. I don't know. The coach is a retired or almost retired ag teacher or ag professional. This coach comes and visits with you twice during the year, just to, not to like critique you like a teacher would or a professor, just to kind of like answer questions. Like if I have something that broke in my lab space, I could ask him, be like, hey, do you know how to fix this? Because I don't. And I would really appreciate your help. Or just like to help talk with my administration, like just to tell them, hey, you have a new teacher in this field. This is a tough field. This is not like a brand new math teacher. This is something completely different. Someone that can talk to your admin because they have that non-new teacher esque to them, essentially. So you have that person. So you're assigned those two people to just kind of bounce ideas off of, just kind of like your bookends on your first year, right? Supporting you from one side and both sides. You're also assigned a group of people. So we have a monthly Zoom call where we kind of just hang out with just the ag people. So like my group is agriculture. Other groups are whatever. they get together with their respective groups and just talk about things. It could be leadership topics, it could be things about like the kids in school, it could be different curriculum, all sorts of things that happen with your first year. And recognizing that, hey, you're not at the top, you're kind of at the rock bottom, but some of you might be working your way up. And it's okay to fall back down, it's okay to climb up. You just things like that. Okay. We just meet once a month on Zoom. We've had a couple in-person meetings just with general Minnesota ag ed teachers, things like that. But it was just this big kind of, I joined the state and just out of the woodwork came all this stuff, all this people, and these people saying, we're going to help you. You can do this. You can do this. If you have a question, talk here. If you need a resource, look here. Here's a link to like all of our brains plugged into a computer. Like, it was just super, honestly, it was overwhelming right away.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't even know what the nearest city is to me right now. Like, I'm a North Dakota kid. Like, where is that? I don't know. Right. But it was just all on me. And it was just given like, here's like this. I imagine it like, if you've ever like picked up a large amount of blankets and it's super heavy, but it's super cushiony and soft and like comfy at the same time, but it's also like, it just got loaded on you and you're like, this is humongous, right? That's what it felt like. It was just kind of like, that was a lot of information. Now I have to like break it down and manage it. And now it's been such a good resource, and just hung out with them all last week. And it was just such a good time to like meet together, meet my fellow first years that are going through the same thing, and just have that camaraderie of, hey, we've done this. Have you tried this? Well, let's try this, or this happened to me. And just kind of that camaraderie that I didn't really expect to have, especially being an outsider.
Yeah.
Considering myself an outsider from North Dakota, but just being like that. But it's been really cool because not all of us are first year teachers. Some of them are teachers that are leaving the Common Core and coming to CTE. Some of them are professionals from a field that are deciding they want to teach. So they might have 20 years of experience in the ag world, but now they're dipping their toes in the ag ed world. And it's all that whole group. So
that's fascinating. I think so many people start new careers and feel like they're navigating this thing alone and like figuring out, again, what city is closest to you, and also how do I do my job, and like, and what is this transition, and what does that look like? And I'm an outsider, like I might not be from here. And when we chatted briefly via the Instagram, this is just one of the things that stood out to me about this this is entirely foreign to me. And seems like one of the most obvious solutions if what you're looking for is connection, community, longevity, retention of teachers. Like, this has to be like, you'd think twice before you were like, yeah, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Exactly. It's just such a good, like, like, I'm thinking of the warm blanket analogy because I'm like, that was really how it felt. I've never been able to explain it like that, but it just felt like I was just like, it was like a nice cushiony hug, but it was so big that I had to kind of fight my way through it. And then I was like, yeah, this is what I want. I feel supportive. Like, I like Minnesota. Like, this was great. They're super helpful. I happily talk to any of them, and I feel much more welcomed into Minnesota Ag Ed just by the TIP program. Like, just by the TIP program. I feel much more ingrained. Like, I already had my foot in the door already, even if I didn't. So.
Well, because I feel like it makes you an insider immediately. And like, even acknowledging, like, right, not from here, I've spent no time here, didn't student teach here, but I've got people. Exactly.
Yeah, it feels really good. So,
go Minnesota. Obsessed with that. Love it, love it, love it. So this is, I think we've touched on this some, but when you think about how do programs like this help bridge the gap between education and the realities of professional life? Like, think about this, like, if you were talking to a legislature or whatever governing body governs things like this, why would you say something like this is worth investing in?
I think it's just it's the retention, support, and just like it's the instant camaraderie and the instant kind of grasp on, you can do this, and we're gonna push you right along and help you and make sure that you're supportive. Like if you want to turn back, you can go for it. But we're going to be here to tell you you should keep trying, and that it may be uncomfortable, but it will get better, and kind of explain that the world is rough and that there's times in education, times of the year where it's hard on teachers, and there's times when it's easy. And I think just to explain that, like you said, to like a group of legislators, it's a support system that's essentially built in. Okay.
Yeah.
You think of like we have an ag ed professor from the U of M Twin Cities. I don't know what her job description looks like, right? I don't know if she gets paid for this. I have no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who better to like be one of the co-heads of this? Someone that's got so much expertise, someone who's been an educator, who teaches educators, right? And then the other part, because I think they're is like Minnesota CTE, okay? A state organization, part of the Department of Ed, that is sole focus is on the strengths and weaknesses of career and tech ed and the problems that we are not normal teachers. We are teachers that have to do other things. Like most teachers aren't going to go to Menards during their first hour prep like I did yesterday. Most teachers aren't going to do that, but a career and tech ed teacher is going to do that. And so you have this powerful force that knows all the laws, the history, the educational systems, the kind of the brain links that make our brain go when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to CTE, and why that's important, why it's even in schools. You have that force. You have the force of ag ed and FFA in that family, and you're just put together, and it's like, who better to help a new teacher out than the people
Well,
that really know everything?
You're completely obviously correct. But like when I think about the amount of budgetary hierarchy decision-making functions in a university system, in a legislature budget function, in preserving and protecting the functions of someone's
Mm-hmm.
job at a U of M level, at a, state level.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say things like teachers matter, our kids matter, how are we investing in the next generation, or like we have a teacher crisis, like this is a real intangible thing that
Mm-hmm.
makes a huge impact on your life and therefore the life of every single person in your classroom across time and space. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people act like these problems are unsolvable. And I want to be very clear in saying I understand the complexities of university realities and state
Mm-hmm.
budgets, and I am not lessening or diminishing in any way the complexity of that work. I am saying it is solvable or it is actionable. There are things that are being done that do happen that impact these things that we say we care about. And so I think one of the things that I do love about this is like, this is a solution. Like this is a tangible, real thing that has a huge impact across the state.
I think it speaks to the fact that these people noticed a problem, whoever it was long ago. They noticed a problem, and instead of just saying, oh, we got this problem, what are we going to do? Let's do some research on it, whatever. They put the work in and they built it. Like, I don't know if you think about it, this isn't just something that just like was written in the Constitution, and we've done it for so many years or whatever. It's law, right? It's like they were like, hey, we need to do this. We can do this. Let's do it like this, and let's give it a shot. And then it worked. And they're like, okay, we've got something. Let's keep going with it. Let's keep rolling with it. It's doing awesome. But it's still just, it almost just seems like that kind of basement Frankenstein of two ideas that were like come together, right? And they're like, what if we did it like this? Like in a hotel room somewhere, like after an evening of conferences. And you're like, what if we did it like this? Okay, let's give it a shot. And then it just went, and it was just like they needed.
Well, and like, I think the just added encouragement I would put out there for anybody listening in your spaces, whatever that space looks like, is like, have the idea, share the idea, try. And I think so much of like literally even this not podcast is like, nothing's perfect when it starts, but it's not going to get better if it doesn't start at all. Yeah. And so I think like whatever things you're passionate about, you need to care about those things. And you need to believe that your effort makes a difference. Because if the idea hadn't ever been verbalized, if someone hadn't said we should try it, like it wouldn't exist.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna ask you one more question.
Okay.
What is something you've learned in the transition into this role that might be helpful for others to know?
I would say that it can be a really tough transition. And this is speaking, I'm speak this personally, and I'm gonna speak it non-personally. Personally, I was a busybody. Like I told you in high school, I did everything. College, I was a busybody. I was working jobs, I was subbing, I was doing whatever classes. I like to be busy. If I was at home at 7 o'clock and went to bed at 8, that was a job well done. Okay, I had a good full day. But now I told myself at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm gonna take it chill. Like I want to see what does it feel like to be a teacher that doesn't have 3 part-time jobs and classes and clubs and all this. And it was kind of interesting. And I found myself right away, I was like, I'm bored, which was me because I was a busybody, but I was like, I'm bored. I'm done with everything at 4 o'clock. And now I walk in circles around my island for an hour because I don't know what to do, like looking for something to do. But then so I was like, okay, I can put a little bit more on my plate. I'm like, I can do this. I'm going to savor my free time because I don't want to drown myself on accident. I can savor my free time, but I can do more because I know that I enjoyed my life more when I was a busybody. Well, I liked things. I missed some of the people I worked with, for example, in my part-time jobs. Like I can do that because I miss that. And it gave me a little bit of like life as a busybody. And so like for anyone stepping into it, I think you just you gotta understand that this is going to be completely different from college, but you need to give yourself that like month, 2 months to be like, what is my job now? What is it like to work essentially a 9 to 5 with like not having to punch a clock, not having to walk to a campus, not having to what does that look like, right? Like, what does it look like to make meals every night because you're home by the same time every night? What is that? Because that was foreign to me. I had no idea. And so it was really a learning curve that this is something new. Like, and I had to learn about it. And I learned that, that's not entirely me, but I still like the feeling of it. So that was something I learned. You just kind of you gotta give yourself that grace that you're starting something so completely new that you don't even know what you're walking into. You may think, college may say that you're ready to go. The world may say you're ready to go, but it's more than just a change of job and where you're driving to and opening the door every day. It's a change of how you're waking up, how you're making your meals, how you're taking care of yourself, how you're interacting with your family. Like, when are you prioritizing yourself, your pets, your kids, whatever? Like, it was kind of an open door. Like, hey, this is new, and it kind of hit me right about in the fall. I was like, this is like that's kind of interesting that I wasn't really prepared and now I'm bored and now I need to figure that out. So now I'm in the figure it out phase. So
I love that. It's incredibly wise and profound to think about like this is different. So like we're gonna learn. And I think like there is a willingness to sit with yourself in that not everybody has. Like my baseline is like I don't want to think about it. So we're gonna fill that plate. And so I appreciate like this is really wise advice. like it is easier to add than it is to get really overwhelmed, freak out, panic, pull back from everything. Like there is a wise way to do it and you figured that out.
And the reason I figured it out is just because I did the full steam ahead and then had to pull back in high school. And I was like, yeah, I'm stressed. That wasn't feeling too good. I'm going to try this differently. So.
Well, that's like we live and we learn and just like the most wrap up function ever.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, this was wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of the wisdom, all of the insight. I appreciate it immensely. Thank you for the time and energy you give to your students. And thanks for being a bison.
Thank you for all this. This was a lot of fun. I liked it.
I'll pester you again. I'll be back.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Perfect. Thank you, Tucker.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.